So you are either watching, listening, or through the metaverse having it directly implanted into your mind, episode 124 of the Unnecessary Nonsense podcast. And on this episode, we'll discuss Super Bowl props. Because they're one of the favorite stupid things. Degenerate gambling for the win. By the way, don't bet on these Super Bowl props, they're stupid. But we'll also talk about some other things going on Super Bowl related. Big game at the end of the season kind of thing. And then we'll also go into some regular stories and talk a little wrestling, the usual kind of thing. The expected things on this episode of the Unnecessary Nonsense podcast. Yes, I'm Carlos. That's someone who's not Carlos.
It's true. I am not Carlos. And I appreciate the people that are watching or having this directly implanted in their brain through the metaverse. I just want to shout out to those people, Carlos.
It was about time. It was I've told Zuckerberg this for like 10 years. The lazy bastard is finally getting around to it.
It's true. It's true.
Yep.
So, how has your week been going, Carlos? How's work?
Going pretty good. Slowly shifting between one and another. I am now a solutions consultant with all the consulting powers that I have, yes. But my favorite thing this week was actually happened yesterday. And I was, working real hard, straining myself, as I do. But out of the blue, I get a phone call. And I still have my call display because anybody who I had the number for previously was on there. And it was one of my old coworkers from my time working at the other bank previously. And they were actually reaching out because a little bit to chit chat. It was very funny that it came out of the blue because the last time I spoke to them was in 2019. Now, funny enough, they were one of the people that I was hanging out with at the end right around holiday time. And that was the last time I was over at a pub near over in in Port Credit. We were having a pint and just hanging around and chatting in the holidays of 2019. Before that was not to be a thing for much longer.
Wow.
So it was over 2 years and change since the last time I had spoken to them, because that was the last time I spoke to them. I did message back and forth a little bit here and there, but obviously time has gone by. So we got caught up, chit-chatted a little bit. And like I said, they were doing an interview with my bank, with my company. They wanted to get a little sense of the vibe and kind of what it's like and things like that. But in the course of the discussion, it was also got a bit of an update on what was going on and everything. But it was just very funny. Out of the blue, that conversation, and it happened to be one of the last people that I spoke to in a pub prior to the whole pandemic.
Interesting.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, there was a time when we did that stuff and talked to people outside of our bubble.
Well, I'll be honest, it's been kind of all right with me. I saved a lot of money not having to do that, so.
Living the dream, Carlos. It's
out
like Carlos's dream. Not anyone else's, but Carlos's dream.
Well, the lack of commute, man. The lack of commute is sweet. Not gonna lie,
that's got to be saving a ton of money, especially if you include, I don't know for this one, but if you have a TTC as well as the Go in there, then yeah, it's got to save a ton of money.
Well, when I was working at when I did work at Canadian Tire, between the Go and the Subway, and then also related expenses there, I was explaining this to somebody the other day. It's literally $500 a month.
Yeah, that almost kind of sounds cheap.
It's not as bad as you'd think, because between the two, because you're using the little Metrolinx pass.
That's
card.
true, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens is, because in that case I'm already accumulating like a full month's worth, so you get discounted at a certain point, and then eventually it goes to zero. But I was using both, so I was actually racking it up. So it's $500 a month, but that's after tax $500 a month. So imagine I just give you $500 every month. That's what I save.
Yeah.
It's significant. It's not like a small amount of money. And then also while I was over there, I'd be there at the office. My treat to myself was that I go buy my cold brew coffee every day. Oh, well, that's $5. 5 days a week, $5. So that's another $100.
Yep.
Now we're at $600. Well, I'm not doing that. I just making it home. So that's not insignificant savings. That's a nice little chunk of change every single month, like clockwork. So I explained it to him. It's like, think about that. He goes, really? And it's like, that is $7,200 a year.
Here comes the Rolex, Carlos.
It could be, yeah. But either way, it gives opportunities for different things. And like I said, also the commute time I save. Also time I save. You can't value that, but time has value too.
Yeah, for sure.
So, because it used to take me like an hour and 20 minutes each way. So I was spending almost 2.5 hours a day just commuting.
Yeah.
In addition,
think of all the YouTube you can watch, Carlos.
And I do. But yep, that's basically the big differentiator. So that's the thing. Now, For this one, let me share a little thing here because I do talk about the other YouTube channel that I do as well, and we will speak of the football game at the end of the season shortly. But in lieu of that, one of the other YouTube content creators invited me to participate in a little thing, so I'll share it with everybody here. Super Bowl after party live with 20 guests from the hobby, including everybody's favorite guy right here.
I like it.
Like, come on, a hero.
It's pretty sweet. Where's this person based out of?
They're based out of, I think, California, I believe.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe it's California. And then you got a bunch of other folks. Some of these folks I actually do know that I've dealt with previously. But yeah, a pretty large lineup of YouTube content creators from various parts of the sports card YouTube landscape.
Now,
Go
since
ahead.
there's so many people, is it like they're bringing them one on at a time, and you kind of have a time slot, or
Groups.
are they...
It's in groups.
Okay.
I do think it's a little ambitious to have that many, but it's not my YouTube channel. I'm not doing it. So
Yeah. So what's your official time? Do you know, or approximately?
I do. It's supposed to be. There's going to be different waves. I think there's 3 waves, and I'm going to be in the second wave, which is. I will tell you. It is going to be 10 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Eastern, right around that time.
Okay. Not too bad.
Yeah. So it's going to be after the game at the end of the season for the NFL. So whatever. I was like, yeah, sure. I'll come on, hang out a little bit, chat about whatever, BS, and then be on my way.
I like it.
Yep. So, shall we get to the business at hand?
Can I do some show and tell first?
You can.
I have some. So I got some mail this week. So I have some artwork to share with you, Carlos. I have 3 that came back. So first of all, we have
Brutai, brother Brutai.
Or if you prefer, nah,
He's trying to remember the disciple.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember his. I remember the move, high knee, but
The booty man.
There we go. All right.
He has many monikers. All of the above were correct.
And then his former tag team partner.
Okay, so Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yep.
Got it.
And the total package.
All right, Luger. So what belt is he holding there?
That's the U.S. Championship.
Got it.
As I got him to write 5-time U.S. champion on it as well.
Yeah. Was it that many times? Sounds about right.
I did my research.
Look at you. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So you want to talk props? Actually, before we talk props, can I mention something? Because I've convinced on this because, as you know, as someone who has an Instagram page or 2, you know, when you click the search button, there's a bunch of things that, you know, algorithms populate that say, check these things out because based on what you've looked at. Anyway, based on that, I am convinced, all right, and I think you are too, Carlos, that Pirate Julia Hart is infinitely better than any other version of Julia Hart.
Yes.
Including like her real life cheerleading self.
Yes. There's no controversy here. No lies detected. What is your point?
It's just interesting because it's just so like, dude, you put an eye patch on her and all of a sudden she infinitely gets better. Apparently it's not that hard.
She's a fucking pirate. It works. It's sweet.
What it's funny for people who don't know, she's not actually a pirate, but we'll go with that.
Yet.
But well, it's true. I really do hope she goes to the dark side fully.
I think the character development she's been tweaking the. I think her last match that I saw, it was either a dark or elevation. She's very much adopting a more aggressive style in the ring, putting a little bit more starch on some of the moves because the earlier ones, she was doing she was trying to do a lot of like acrobatics and stuff using the whole cheerleading background. But the problem is when they do that, a lot of the moves have no impact. Like they're like there's no connection, no landing.
Right.
But when you do a more aggressive style, if you're willing to do that, you can put a little bit more aggression behind the moves themselves, which is they have a little bit more snap. One of the things that makes Thunder Rosa work really well is that she'll put some snap behind the moves. It feels like they have more contact. At the end of the day, you're basically doing you're putting on a fake fight. That's what you're trying to do. But the idea here is that it shouldn't look like it's a fake fight because you miss the other person by 10 feet. That doesn't look good. Like nobody can make that work. And at the same time, your job isn't really to connect with them fully all the time, because otherwise people would be out with injuries every single match. But your goal is to be somewhere in between. It's got to look good enough that, okay, I could see that almost looking like it connects. It should feel like it connected, and the other person reacts accordingly. And if you're capable of putting a little bit of snap to it, it's only going to that only looks better. So right now she's still kind of in the middle of that. The moveset is starting to adjust a little bit. She's reacting to the crowd a little bit less like a cheerleader, but almost like playing it up, almost like in a sarcastic manner, which is good for character development. And again, she's just making her casual steps towards being a pirate.
Yeah. I'm just saying. It's
She's
just
right.
it's just admirable. And it's also, I feel, goes to the point that sometimes creative isn't that hard.
No.
Yet they still manage to screw it up all the time.
Yeah. The point is that the cheerleader thing had no future. It was just generic. Like, not everybody likes her style and what she ended up doing, but Alexa Bliss was basically a cheerleader. She was like a fairy princess or something. I don't know what the hell she was. She literally threw glitter at people.
She was the goddess, Carlos.
No, this is before all that.
Oh, before the goddess.
In NXT, she was the glitter princess.
Oh, right.
She literally just walked out with a little tutu thing and like blew glitter at people. Literally, her theme song was like glitter, sparkle, something, bliss. And then she would come out. She was basically Julia Hart, but with like an even dumber gimmick. And now she's like a 5-time women's champion or whatever. And she was the first to win the 2 different brand belts and whatever. She's doing her other stuff now, but like in 2016, she was winning like every title.
Yeah. Do you feel that they should just go back to one? Like, why do we have to have 2 titles? Can we just go back to having one?
Well, that was WWE trying to have a separation. You got to remember, the 2 shows are in 2 different networks.
It's true, but
and
then
the 2 networks are paying a lot of money.
That's
They're
true.
like,
every once in a while you have. I mean, they connect at pay-per-views.
I understand that. I get, but Fox, like right now, Ronda Rousey is feuding basically with Charlotte Flair, not because the Becky Lynch Ronda Rousey doesn't make more sense, because it does. It's because, one, presumably, from what we hear, Charlotte lobbied for it and has been lobbying for it for a while, and secondly, Fox wants Ronda Rousey on their show. So if she's going to be on that show, she should probably be going after that show's belt. It would stand to reason.
Yeah.
As opposed to, so basically now you've got Lita on the other side, killing time with Becky Lynch until they figure out who the hell she's going to face at WrestleMania.
Dewdrop rematch.
We can only hope. Dare we live the dream? That's kind of where we're at on that. It's like, it's the reality of it. Okay.
They should do some kind of like Scotland versus Ireland feud.
You mean Nikki Cross?
I mean, well, Nikki Cross, Dewdrop, Drew McIntyre.
Is Dewdrop from Scotland?
Becky Lynch. Sorry?
Is Dewdrop from Scotland?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And then
her ring name was Piper Niven, so actually maybe that makes sense.
And then you've got, on the other side, you've got Sheamus. You've got Becky Lynch. Yeah, you could have Finn Balor. Like, you could kind of make something work. I mean, it can't be worse than anything they've done lately.
Yep. Ayrshire, Southwest Scotland. Shall be damned. All right. We got it. Fair enough. All good. Whatever. I guess I didn't pay close enough attention, but all right. I get it. Yeah, we'll have to see. So actually, since we're talking about the wrestling already, we'll get to the football in a second.
Sorry, I just Pirate Julia Hart I had to say it, Carlos.
But let's stick with the wrestling then, and we'll switch over to the football. We were chatting about it a little bit. So you like the Keith Lee debut?
I did. I liked, because I had not watched Keith. Like, I didn't basically. I think I've watched NXT a grand total of like under a handful of times, so under 5 times, and I've never watched the whole show because it never interested me that much. So I have not seen. I don't believe I have ever seen Keith Lee wrestle before this past Wednesday.
Yeah, and I can tell you something. He got to show a little bit more in this showcase, basically showcase match. So he was the mystery opponent for Isaiah Cassidy, who was almost a perfect opponent for him, because Isaiah Cassidy is, he's a small enough kind of guy. He's not like a small guy, but he's a thin guy. So he's light enough that like Keith Lee can like literally throw him around the ring. And he's also very athletic, so he can like even embellish. He basically went flying. Keith Lee threw him like 3/4 of a mile. Like he just went flying. And it looked good because he can get some air time, so he was able to then land safely, but at the same time, like, really get some air and make it like even more dramatic. So Keith Lee was able to really show off his power because he's got tons of power. Because he used to be a football player and he's a big guy. But at the same time, it's one of those things. But his thing that made him special was that as big as he is and as strong as he is, because he's a big dude, he's also pretty athletic. He can move around the ring very well for a big guy. And he came in, now mind you, he came in kind of heavy, but I would expect him to work himself back into shape because he actually had a very serious bout of COVID. That's what put him out of WWE for quite a while there. He was in very seriously poor health there, largely because of that. But if he's able to go back to doing a lot of what stuff he was able to do, even in NXT, and he did well in NXT. He was an NXT champion to go along with their North American Championship, so he's a double champion in NXT. I think the first one to hold both belts. But the thing is that, as well as he did, they still dumbed down his moveset compared to like his full skill set. He can do some crazy stuff for a guy that big. He's your more modernized version of like Vader, because Vader's whole thing was that for a super heavyweight, the dude can actually move pretty well in the ring. Yeah. Same with Bam Bam Bigelow. The thing that made him special is he's a big dude, but he can move around pretty well, pretty quick for a big guy. Well, Keith Lee is like the next evolution of that. And if you get a chance to showcase it, which is going to be very possible, good start. If he gets to showcase some of that, I think the crowd will get behind it.
Yeah.
So that'll be a big piece of that. So I'm not saying I anticipated these things, but I would never suggest such things. But I'm just saying, sometimes people plan for things. There may be people.
Carlos is showing a Keith Lee card. Do you own this card, Carlos?
I purchased this card. I purchased this card prior to his debut. This is I think it's 2021 WWE Topps Chrome Gold Refractor Keith Lee out of 50. And that is why I am Carlos.
It's true. Also, speaking of wrestling cards, I did appreciate the Jake the Snake pickup you had.
Yep, I included it as part of. I actually got a whole stack of them now, but I figured the Jake the Snake would be a good one to have as the one for Instagram, because I think I've shown a lot of these, but I'll do it quickly. QT Marshall. These are all the exclusives out of 100.
Yeah.
We got the infamous Big Swole. We know about that one.
Oh yes.
But then we got ourselves Luchasaurus. Mm-hmm. Solid. We got Wardlow. So that's probably the Wardlow rookie card parallel there. And then we got good old Jake the Snake. And I've got a couple more coming in. So when the opportunity presents itself and I can grab a couple, I do.
Yeah.
So work in progress. I'm not going to grab everything, but look, if the price is right and I can get it, I will.
Yeah, for sure.
So works out. Actually, quick side story. Anything else wrestling wise you want to touch on? We got Power Julia Hart, so it was good. We got
I don't think there's anything else that we need to touch on wrestling wise. Although I will say, shout out to the FTR and versus CM Punk and John Moxley tag. I thought that was the best match I've seen in a while.
I think it was a very good tag team match. Just trying to think here. I thought the Texas Death Match was very good for a Texas Death Match. I thought that Archer and Hangman Page did a very good job with that one. I'm just trying to think. I feel like there was another match in there that I liked. I like the Serena. I still like the Serena Deeb coming in like now the 5-minute challenge. I like her. It's like, yep, it's a good dickish move. Just be like, hey, grab the microphone. It's like, all right, I'm gonna beat you in under 5 minutes. Let's go.
And it's like, gives her something to do. Gives some enhancement talent something to do. Maybe, someone eventually develops into something, which is kind of cool.
But it also means that at some point somebody's going to challenge her that is going to last for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
or even beat her inside the 5 minutes. And then and then you've got a feud. So It's going to be, it's like, it's a logical plot point to have her on TV doing something and then kind of work your way back into that. And then on Rampage, we got the continuation. So we got Britt Baker back in the ring against an opponent, just getting some reps in, and then but then of course now we got to have now that Thunder Rosa has been brought into the Britt Baker multiverse again. Now she's got to come in, but then we've got dissension between Mercedes Martinez and Jamie Hayter, and so she's got about 3 storylines going directly around Britt Baker. Oh, the other one that I thought was interesting was Jade and AQA. So they had the lady come in, AQA. I didn't
think it was a bad match.
For a Jade match, it was very good. Because at the end of the day, like, it's a Jade match. She's still learning her stuff. and they gave it a little bit of time, which is probably good. I will say AQA hit a Phoenix Splash. I don't know if you saw that. It actually hit a pretty strong, a pretty solid Phoenix Splash. So I think they're pretty high on her. So good. Look, you introduced another talent. Good.
It's gonna move the needle, Carlos.
But you know what it does though? It gives them if they because I think they signed AQA. You know what it gives them though? It gives them diversity. One of the complaints, right? They gave them some diversity. And by the way, gave them some time. Let them actually have. They gave her some offense. In the end of the day, Jade's job in this situation is to win or keep her win streak going until they figure out what they're going to do with the long term.
Yeah.
But in the interim, having good showcase matches, getting a little bit more ring time, all good things. Let AQA have a showcase. Let Jade get some more ring time. Have a longer match where there's a little bit of offense on both sides. In the end, Jade wins and she continues on until her next challenger. We'll see what happens from there. And right now, Jade is actually being effectively used to help test out people. And they also had, her against Pirate Julia Hart in a continuation of, her evolution as a pirate. I'm sorry, this is a win-win. Everybody's winning.
Everybody wins with Pirate Julia Hart. That's what this episode should be called.
Could be, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see how a lot of that goes. But why not? It goes. So let's talk about the footballs.
Let's do it.
All right, you want me to go straight into the prop bets?
Oh, please.
All right, so we're gonna do a little prop bets here. I'm not going to show it on the screen. Well, actually, I can probably, can't I? No, it's fine. You've always got the different combinations. You got the different silly versions of the prop bets. I'm always a big fan of the ones that cross different genres. Although, for whatever reason, I still don't know anything about this. There's apparently a dance called the gritty or the grid or something.
Okay.
So basically, one of the things is like, one of them is like Jamar Chase hits the gritty. I'm like,
is that his like touchdown celebration?
No, the thing is, it's a dance that apparently some people are doing, and it's like a thing. I guess maybe it's on TikTok or something. But the point is, the question is, does Jamar Chase hit the gritty? Which could certainly happen if he scores a touchdown or something.
I feel that's likely.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Yes. Yeah, so a yes, we would get like 2.2 to 1 odds. So not bad on that. Just a second here. This one I'm trying to figure out what it was. It says here LSU video release. I guess LSU acts like they won the Super Bowl. I guess this would be if if Joe Burrow won. So I guess that would make sense. Very specific. There's a couple of I like this one. It's so random, but I kind of enjoy it. I can only see a few scenarios where this would happen. So I think you'll appreciate this one, Dave.
All right.
Will either announcer say for Shizzle?
No. Who's got the Super Bowl?
Isn't it Collinsworth and Al Michaels?
Well, then no. There's no way. I don't know. I guess
for Shizzle.
There's an off chance that Al Michaels says it, but I would highly doubt it. I would go with no on that.
For Shizzle, Dave. For Shizzle.
I just don't feel that's really something that either of them would do.
For Shizzle. Will Joe Burrow smoke a cigar post Super Bowl? Again, if they win, that would make sense. Will there be a streaker? That's a pretty standard one. We know that one. Will the broadcast show Stafford in a Lions jersey? Probably in a little highlight somewhere in there.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah, so that's 2.3 to 1 on that one.
That's a good one. Have you bet on any of these already?
On the prop bets, no. I got to look at them again and see. Maybe, maybe not. It's something I'm going to think about.
You do love your degenerate gambling, though, Carlos.
I do. But I already put like wagers on the regular game itself. Will Jackson Holmes post a TikTok during the Super Bowl? Why Jackson Mahomes would specifically be doing that? I guess they really need their social media attention.
Apparently.
Same type of question. Will Joe Burrow hit the gritty at any point? It's all about the gritty, Dave. For Shizzle.
Well, I think someone is going to hit the gritty, apparently.
Yep.
I wish I knew what that was, but...
Well, it's a dance. You got to listen, you teach high school kids, ask them what the gritty is.
But unfortunately, I don't see them until Monday, and that's after the Super Bowl, so...
Terrible.
That does nothing to help me right now.
I like this. Because it feels like it's maybe they're like a leading sponsor in this. Will any halftime performer, because they've got like 50,000 halftime performers.
This is true.
Will any of them enter in an Impala?
Is Chevrolet some kind of big sponsor?
That's what I'm saying. I think that maybe that's a possibility. That's very specific. I kind of like that. Oh, here's a good one for you. Will a field goal or PAT doink off the upright or crossbar? Will you get a doink in the Super Bowl?
I like that. I would say the odds are no. Right? So yes has got to be better odds, right?
All right. The next two are perfect. The next two are the kind of prop bets that I like.
Before I go, what's the doink? What's yes on the doink?
3 to 1.
Okay.
All right. The next two are the kind of prop bets that I was hoping for. This is what I need you people to do when you're coming up with prop bets. All right. Number 1 here. Will Harambe be mentioned during the broadcast? 4-1 on yes, Dave.
I
Do
don't
we
know.
win for Harambe?
I'm thinking. Yeah, based on what you told me last week.
4-1. Next. How many times will Chris Collinsworth say, now here's a guy, over 5.5?
Ooh.
Now here's a guy for Shizzle.
I don't know. That's a good one. I'm gonna go with under, but that's a good one.
Let the record state though. What would be the greatest gambling moment, because there's the people who always complain and they say like the NFL's fixed. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now the secret. You're going to know the NFL is fixed if the following occurs. What's going to happen is at some point Chris Collinsworth will be during the broadcast and he'll be like, it's like, Al, I got to tell you, this Harambe thing. Now, here's a guy for Shizzle. And like 3 props hit like in 10 seconds. What? And all of a sudden you find out it's like, Carlos, I may have combined all 3 into a super prop. What? 150-1 for Shizzle. Just saying.
You're just loving your for Shizzle right now, aren't you?
It's a prop.
I mean, if people had the over, if anybody had the under on Carlos saying for Shizzle on this podcast, you were wrong apparently.
Well, you could have had the over. You could have had the over on the entire lifetime of this podcast, and I would have achieved it in this one episode. This may be the last time, so enjoy it. Listen, I repeat, you're able to hit on those 3 props in one moment from Chris Collinsworth, you know the fix is in.
100%.
You know the fix is in. I'm just warning y'all.
I bet too. Is the fix in with Chris Collinsworth in the NFL?
Could be. All right, here we go. And then you got some related, not really related stuff, some other things. Will Brian Flores win the class action suit against the NFL? Yes or no? Will an NFL team owner be suspended from team by week 1 in 2022? Yes or no? NFL team losses due to investigations. Okay. So that's under the exotic. Let me go open this up here. I do have a couple. I think there were a couple of other sports related ones because those ones are at least fun. Okay, so here we go. I've got the commercial props, as in ones related to the commercial. We've got that category. And then we've also got the cross sport Super Bowl props. So what do you
like those ones. You know, what's more, the number of goals scored in this versus, I like those.
All right. So we're going cross sport here. Okay, so here we'll give you one for your football, for your pretentious cross country running. All right. Most Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl 56 touchdowns or Tottenham versus Wolverhampton goals. Which one is higher, Dave? Which one's higher?
I'm going to go with Cincinnati touchdowns.
There you go. 1.83-1. Let's see here. Oh, here you go. This one's very specific. All right. Again, most. Cincinnati Bengals touchdowns in Super Bowl 56 or Leicester City versus West Ham yellow cards.
Yeah.
We're going deep, Dave. We're going deep.
It's
not
also
goals.
It's
yellow
also
cards.
Leicester City, Carlos.
Whatever.
Yeah. Let's go with touchdowns again.
There you go. That one's pretty generic. Let's see here. Okay, what is this one here? T. Young. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Rams total touchdowns versus Trae Young made threes versus Boston.
That's a good one.
Yep. So
let's go Trae Young.
All right, Trae Young. And we'll do one more here. Cross sport. Super Bowl 22 winning margin. So which is higher? Winning margin in the game versus Alex Ovechkin total shots versus Ottawa.
Ooh.
We got a little of the hockeys in there for our king.
I don't know. I'm going to go with Alex Ovechkin.
Yep. There you go. Just looking to see if there's anything else here that's interesting, that's fun. All right, let me hit the traditional. All right, we'll do the Gatorade shower one. I'll give you your options.
All right.
Gatorade shower colors. Orange, no Gatorade shower. Clear, purple, yellow, green, lime, any of those 3. Blue, or red, pink.
So I think since it's a rain, I'm going to go, well, it could be blue. I'm going to go with yellow.
So the yellow, green, lime, some combination they're in?
Yep.
4.2-1 this year. 4.2-1 on that one.
Because I think the Rams are going to win. And I think that's the color they're going to use.
Yep. All right, so here we go. Now, I usually like the national anthem one, but I don't know who the hell this is.
It's a country singer.
Mickey Guyton. Great.
So
they got the over-under a minute 42. I don't know. Back in the
based on what I heard on the radio, believe it or not, listening to ESPN talking about this, based on previous anthems, and they say the Super Bowl tends to go a little bit longer. Based on that number, I would go with the over.
Well, traditionally, I like the over, as you well know, but I usually like my pop singers for that. Lady Gaga, over. But Carlos, it was 14 minutes. Yes, over. Over. It's like Home of the Brave, over under 15 minutes. Over. See?
I love it.
Correct, Ogilvy. Correct.
He knows, man. He knows.
And thank you for tuning in. So here. Does he forget or admit any words? Yes or no?
No.
All right. He's going with no. 1.04 to 1. You know, it's 8 to 1 if you say yes.
I mean, it's hard. Like, how close does it go, right? Because if you like, what happens if you say the wrong word?
Well, forgets or omits a word. If he says the wrong word, he forgot.
Okay, so
in my opinion, that's a forget.
It's possible then.
Can you imagine? He starts off the song. He goes, "Can you see?" It's like, "Oh, say can you?" Like you literally already forgot 3 words.
Or like, or if they say Jose, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
look, when all of a sudden you end up with the forget omitted Harambe for Shizzle. It's like, how many things you stack? It's like 8, 9. It's like, how much did you wager? $5.
Will Harambe get mentioned in the halftime show?
Well, I think it was Harambe being mentioned at all. It was completely open to, I think, the whole broadcast. I
don't know. I think it's the likelihood of Harambe getting mentioned on the broadcast. So, like, okay, here's the question: if they pan the crowd and there's a Harambe sign, does that count?
I would think so.
Then I think I would bet yes on the Harambe mention.
That's what I mean. I think the Harambe is.
I don't think it's gonna be Chris Collinsworth, Carlos, but I think it's gonna happen.
Well, I don't think Chris Collinsworth has to be the one necessarily to do it. I'm just saying you'll know the fix is in if it happens to be Chris Collinsworth.
That's what I'm saying. I'm referring specifically to the fix being in or not.
That's all I'm saying. We'll see. But that's how this thing has to go down. Look, stack up a bunch of different things. It's like I said, you'll know the fix is in if you get that combination of things. And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, it was, will Harambe be mentioned during the broadcast?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with yes on that.
That's a lot of room, buddy.
What are my odds on betting yes?
4 to 1.
Yeah, I'm going to bet yes. I'm betting yes on it, Carlos.
Carlos says $10 on Harambe. And done. Confirmed. Moving on. Anyway, degenerate gambling for the win. The point is, like I said, you stack up all these things. Like, Carlos, how much did you bet on this? It's like $5. It's like, how much did you win? $18,467,000. It's like, wait a minute, the fix is in.
Harambe!
It's like, this is not legit. This is not legit like professional wrestling. This is fixed like the CFL. I knew it. Hashtag fixed. Anyway, so there you go. So I think
parlay anything with Harambe and you've got this.
Amazing. Like, the opportunities are nearly limitless. It's unbelievable. Forget about Keith Lee. Keith Lee thinks he's limitless? No, the opportunities are limitless, my friend, when you parlay with Harambe. So anyway, that is not gambling advice. And this is certainly not investment advice. Don't listen to us. Ever.
No, please do not.
All right, so that's cool. So we got the Super Bowl prop bets out. Beautiful. I'm trying to remember. Was there something else that we wanted to touch on related? We already did our picks as far as that's concerned. We got that out of the way. I feel like there's one thing I'm forgetting. Baseball, nothing's happened, so I'm not even worrying about that.
No. But every day, my prediction of spring training will start on time. It looks worse and worse.
I think at this point, you cut your losses and go and bet it all on Harambe.
So the question is, will the season begin on time? Although apparently they've agreed to a universal DH. Have you heard that?
That is good. Yeah, I did hear about that. But I think that's good for Albert Pujols. He might be able to get another season in as a result of that, because all of a sudden he's got potentially a full lineup of jobs.
That's true.
Potentially out there, so he could get himself in one more. Actually, this would be maybe one you didn't hear about. So we're good with the football. We'll move on.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, then let me throw something at you. I made a video about this, but I'll get your take on it.
All right.
There was a record set on a Jasson Dominguez. So you familiar with Jasson Dominguez?
No.
So Jasson Dominguez is like a prospect for the Yankees. He hasn't had a single major league at bat or anything yet.
All right. Where is he currently? He's drafted?
He's like in rookie ball or A ball right now.
Okay.
He played last year.
So low.
Yeah, still low. Years away from potentially even starting a game.
All right.
There was a one-of-one autographed superfractor card of his that was graded and sold at a Golden Auction House, and in the last big sale they put together, and the Superfractor sold for $474,000.
Wow.
He does not have one major league bat. He's not even close to having a major league bat yet. He's years away from even having one major league bat.
I don't know. Even if he has makes it to the major leagues and has a decent career, is it still worth it? You know?
Well, this was the question I posed in the video. And what's funny is I compared it because in the same sale, speaking of Albert Pujols, one of his nicer rookie cards was also sold and sold for a record amount, $462,000. Jasson Dominguez, who has never had one major league at bat, sold for more than now. This is a one of one, the Jasson Dominguez, I grant you, but the other one was $462,000, and I did the comparison. I said, so all you got to do, and I posed the question. I said, if Jasson Dominguez had a career equivalent to Albert Pujols, because right now he is 3,301 hits shy of Albert Pujols, 670 odd home runs shy of Albert Pujols, and about 2,150 RBIs shy of Albert Pujols. But other than that, they're basically the same.
Yeah, there's no part of me that feels this is a good investment.
No. My point was there is almost no scenario, and I did enjoy it because the thesis of the video wasn't just, look, it's easy to say it's a bad investment. It is. But where I had some fun, and I was able to have some fun with the thesis of the video, is I was able to use a musical reference. And I'll briefly share it with you.
All right.
You're familiar with Guns N' Roses?
Yes.
All right. One of their most infamous albums was Chinese Democracy. So you're familiar with the story of Chinese Democracy?
No, not entirely. I'm familiar with the album, but...
All right. So what happened was Chinese Democracy was going to be one of their follow-up albums after they had done Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 in the early 90s. Then they released The Spaghetti Incident, I think 1993. And then they had the band strife. Axl Rose was feuding with all the other members. They basically left. Axl Rose was kind of left by himself, had to kind of rebuild the band. I'm giving the short version just to get everybody up to speed. Mm-hmm. And then they started working on this new project that was going to release. The idea originally, it was going to release in 1999. That was the expectation. Now, by 1999, it had already been 6 years since the last album, but yeah, that's still reasonable within the realm of music, whatever. But the idea is it was going to be released. But then it got put into development hell, delay after delay, issue after issue. They moved from studio to studio.
This is all sounding familiar now.
Yeah. So this just kept going on and on and on and on. And after a while, it became a bit of a joke. It's like, this thing's never going to get released. People were pretty confident, it's like, this is never coming out. 2008 rolls around, and it finally gets released. Infamously, it gets released. It ended up selling 2.6 million copies, which is not terrible. But it was 15 years in the making, literally, since their last studio album. So it became this thing. The reason that I use this example, though, there was a reason I used this point. Specifically, what I was talking about with it is that if you actually listen to the album, and I did, I actually have a copy of the album. I bought it at the time that it was released because it was so infamous. I was like, I gotta buy a copy of this. So I got it. I listened to it at the time, and I've had it in my shelf ever since. I went and re-listened to it before I made this video, and I came to the same conclusion I came to in 2008. It's not bad. Is it the most amazing album in the world? No. Is it a solid Guns N' Roses album? It's decent. It's not terrible. But my point was, in some ways, that is the worst outcome that could have happened. Because if it had been the greatest album ever made, what an amazing comeback. After 15 years, you put together a masterpiece. Great job by you guys. Or if it's a Hindenburg disaster, it's this memorable thing. It took you 15 years and $13 million, and your label dropped you. And all this happened, and this is what you came up with. But It was decent. It was okay. Now, what does this have to do with Jasson Dominguez? My point was, now we have an anchor point going forward. $474,000. Somebody paid $474,000 for this. My question wasn't if he was going to become an all-time great. In order to really win in this bet, he has to become an all-time great. You don't have a choice. But at least if he's a Hindenburg disaster, he never makes the field. He never plays a single major league game. It will be an infamous card. It'll retain some value, almost from like a historic. Holy crap, you guessed wrong, dude. Yeah. You guessed wrong real hard. So that would at least have some value from a super collector would be like, I'll give you 20 or 30 grand for it just because it's like this weird story, amazing story related to it.
You're never going to get your money back, but
never. But it would be infamous. It would be one of the most infamous cards in the hobby of all time. But I pose the question, What if Jasson Dominguez is not Albert Pujols or an all-time Pantheon player? What if he's not one of the biggest busts of all time? What if he is Alex Gordon?
Yeah. Then
Now,
it's just like,
now, real quick, I'll give you a couple quick stats on Alex Gordon. Alex Gordon played 14 years in the major leagues. He was in 3 All-Star games. He won the 2015 World Series with the Kansas City Royals. He was a lifer Kansas City Royal and retired with a decent, solid little career.
Yeah.
Not amazing, not terrible. Okay.
I would say slightly above average.
Correct. My point was, if Jasson Dominguez was Alex Gordon, had 14 seasons for the Yankees, won a World Series with the Yankees, 3 All-Star games, is that worth $474,000?
No. Hell no.
And by the way, a 14-year career is not bad.
No. That's still, I mean, and you're probably going to make pretty decent coin too.
Yes. But you'll never get $474,000. And by the way, it's not a disaster either. So it's like, it's just there. So you paid $474,000 for it.
Do we know who bought the card?
I believe it's this guy who has been around making big splashes, making these big bets. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this. I heard that it was a guy that was involved in a Logan Paul Pokemon case that became infamous recently. It was a $3.5 million Pokemon case. So this dude's been splashing some money around. But this is like the dumb bet. This is like the, it's not the Harambe bet, which is, like an automatic winner, like easy.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's not like that. It's like, why don't we combine every prop in history and Tom Brady will rise down from the heavens and strike Joe Burrow down with lightning. It's like, that's a bit of a stretch, bro. While saying for Shizzle. That's a bit too much. It's too much. You went too far. Turn back. Too far.
Yeah. I think that's legit, man.
I think you just lost money. It's too much. It's too much. Turn back. Please turn back.
Yeah. But hey, it's done. I mean, it makes for a good story.
It does. It does. But that's why
you almost hope that, like, part of it, hopes, like, not for the person, but for the story that he is bust, because it makes for a better story.
Well, that's my point. It's look, maybe we'll use another analogy from this very show. The problem is right now, what we're hoping for. We're not right now. What we've got, we have either early NXT Alexa Bliss, or pre-Pirate Julia. Raw. It's not. We don't have Pirate Julia yet. That's like our ceiling. That's our hope. That's what we're hoping will happen here.
Exactly.
Right now we're not even close to there. Right now we're still in cheerleader Julia Hart. Like it's like it's not looking good, bros. It's not looking good. But we don't know where it's going to be. We got a while now. But now we have an anchor point because now everybody will point back at that 474,000 and ask the question: is it worth it? Right now nobody knows, but
the answer will always be no, in my opinion.
It's
regardless, even if he has a Hall of Fame career, it's still a no.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to look. Once upon a time, somebody paid $4 million for a Trout Superfactor.
Yeah. Speaking of lots of money for a card, did you see the Honus Wagner that sold?
The one that was cut in half?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like was it like 500,000 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts on that one?
The Wagner has gotten so out of whack. The Wagner is the Wagner's a status symbol. It's not even about the card anymore. It's like as long as it's real. People were willing to pay an inordinate amounts of money just to have it. They're like, okay, it exists. Hey, there you go.
Do you know how many approximately are known to exist?
60 to 70 is the guess. It's a guesstimate. Nobody knows for 100% sure, but it's the guess is 60 to 70.
That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah, but it's been scattered over the years. It's one of those things, like I said, it's a guess, and it's predominantly a guess because nobody is 1,000% sure. Like, you think you've done like a head count, but these cards circulate over time. So everybody kind of sits back and goes like, is it though? Yeah. It's like, are you sure? And it's like, all right, I know this guy owns one. I know this guy owns one. I think this guy owns one. There's a lot of guessing. I did have 2 more notable sales actually from the Golden since we brought it up.
Okay. And then I have a card question I want to ask you, which I may have asked on this podcast before. I want to ask you.
All right. Sounds good. By the way, shout out to whoever's watching us live. It might be Ogilvy. It might be somebody else. We don't know. If you are, you're welcome to put it in the chat. I can still see the chat. So let me see.
Wait, that I'm here for the prop bet. Is that from some other point of time?
No. That was while we've been talking.
Yeah. So either he's still watching or he's left and someone else came on. That's watching.
Could be. I like this one. Good old Juan Soto, 145,200. Yes, Juan Soto.
Of course you do with the Juan Soto.
Dude, Juan Soto, friend of the channel. All right. This I saw another card though that was kind of cool. There's a lot of expensive ones here, but there's one specific one that I thought was kind of interesting, and I'll give you a little background on it if I can find it. $85,000 for the Vladdy Jr. That's pretty significant too. Stan Musial. There's a lot of good stuff in the sale actually. Trout. Boo. Vladdy Jr. Nice. I like that one. That was a good one. There you go. There's another Jackie. That's a good one. All right, last chance. I got a couple more to scroll through here. No, never mind. Okay, so there was a W514, which is one of those.
Can you bring up a picture of it? Like
Yeah,
not of the one that's sold, but of the card in general.
I can probably find it. Yeah, so I will pull it up. In the meantime, ask your question. What's your question?
So, because obviously cards keep going up in value, up and up. So I would say, what is the one A card? Maybe not the one.
Yep.
But a card that you don't have in your collection that you want, but is actually still feasible that you might get one day.
Okay, newer or vintage?
Either doesn't matter.
Right now,
what would be at the top of your list?
Ooh, well, at the top of my list, there's still a few Pujols autograph rookies that are still attainable. It's still possible to get them. For the newer guys, that card, that Soto I showed you, that's one of the parallels. It's one of the rare parallels. It's like the out of 25. The regular version though is like 5,000 or 6,000. If I sold some cards and was able to like a trade sale thing into it, I wouldn't mind having one or two of those sitting around in my collection. I don't want to pay the full freight. That's why I'm like not even thinking about it. Plus, if I have 5,000 or 6,000 lying around, there's other things I'm going to spend it on.
Yeah.
Logically. Vintage wise, the only ones I'm slowly starting to work on a 53 Topps baseball set.
Okay.
So I'm going to need the Jackie Robinson. I'm going to need the Willie Mays. The Willie Mays is basically the line in the sand. If I get the Willie Mays, I'll go for it. I've got the Mantle for years now. I'm keeping that. I was able to get a Yogi Berra. I've got a Roy Campanella. I've got a couple of the other Hall of Famers. But the Willie Mays is the one. If I get the Willie Mays, then okay, time to get the Jackie Robinson, the Satchel Paige, a couple of the other big guys that are still left to go get.
Okay.
And then we'll do it because that's going to be the last big 50s baseball set that I will even attempt. The other one, I think 53 Bowman is nice, and I would probably get that one too. But compared to the 53 Topps, not even in the same ballpark. 53 Bowman's easier and cheaper. But yeah, there's a handful of vintage sets that I still want to do, but after that, I'm gonna peter it out and slow down because it's like, yeah, I'd rather just spend the money on other stuff at that price point now. What they're going for. So this is what it is. It's W514.
Okay.
It's a Babe Ruth. It's a playing days era Babe Ruth, but it's also one of his earliest ones where he's considered a New York Yankee. So if you notice, it's Yankees in quotation marks.
Yeah, I can't see that clear enough, but yeah, at the bottom,
it's right here,
right beside where it says AL after it.
Exactly. Okay. So it's right here. So it shows Yankees in quotation marks. So the thing is, this is like an early Ruth. These are all very crudely drawn and whatever. And for many years, these were available super cheap. And I think in the golden auction, I think it sold for like 50 grand. So like they've gone crazy because those ones have no backs on them. They're just they're called strip cards. They're literally strip cards. So they had to be cut by hand in order to do it. That one was cut pretty decently. But the point is these were like meant to be like throwaway for strip tobacco. Strip tobacco is like the cheapest of the cheap. It's like the no-name brand tobacco of the day. And they happen to have these cards in there with these crude drawings, but you're talking about somewhere between 1919 and 1921. So I think Ruth didn't get to the Yankees until 1920. So him being a Yankee and a home run king means it was either 1920 or 1921 that Ruth came out. So that's going to be one of his earliest New York Yankees cards for Ruth.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of a big deal from that standpoint of collecting. So it's pretty sweet. So yeah, I would say the 53 Topps Willie Mays for vintage. That Soto autograph prospect card would be pretty sweet, or one of those Pujols autograph ones. There's a couple that I have my eye on, but it's like they're not cheap anymore. The stuff that I sent off for PSA, if I'm able to get some good grades on them and I sell some of that stuff off, it might contribute towards me putting some money aside, and then maybe I'll think about it. But of course, I'll pay the bills and take care of stuff around the house first. That'll take priority. But if I can,
yeah,
never know. Or maybe I need to buy some more Bitcoin. Who knows?
It's possible.
We had a nice little dip there. Buy the dip. So there you go. All right. Anything else? Anything else you wanted to learn for today?
No, I think it's good. Actually, I think that's a good, well-rounded, unnecessary nonsense episode where we talked about what we said we were going to talk about. We went down some tangents. It was solid.
Sounds good. Then I'm going to leave you all with one more thing and one more thing only. So here we go. I'm going to do this. The next AEW set, we have a basic breakdown.
Ooh.
Yes, so I can give you a little bit of insight. It's still fresh, still new. It's scheduled to come out in the summer, but I can contrast it a little bit to kind of what you can expect. Right now, we're still early days. We don't really have a full checklist yet. We're going to find out more in short order, but there are a couple of interesting notable items that I will give you and I'll share with you. So let's do that. And that'll wind us down. So Chrome tab, yes. Alrighty, so here we go. So 2021 Upper Deck AEW Spectrum. That is a new one, Spectrum.
All right.
So the previous one was meant to be more of a flagship deal. This one is clearly going to be a lot more expensive. Full stop. So let me just do the screen share again real quick because I want to shift this over to the side. It'll be easier to read. I actually like the picture-in-picture Mystery Science Theater 3000 version, but it's a little easier if we're to the side. Okay. So basically the boxes are going to have 7 cards per pack and 1 pack per box. So this is more of a premium brand. So you can expect that the box prices will be off the charts. By the way, I have a homework assignment for you. And it is this.
All right.
I know for a fact that in the US, the retail boxes have shown up. So we need to keep our eye out. I want some of those goddamn retail boxes, Dave. I want to open some AEW retail boxes because at least those are affordable. So we'll see. In the meantime here, so these are what the base cards look like. Here's the autographs and stuff. The big complaint was that there weren't enough autographs in the other one, obviously, because there were very long odds. We talked about that.
Yes.
But this is a more premium brand, so you're going to get more autographs. Don't worry. You're going to get autographs. By the way, it's probably going to be like $500 a box or maybe $1,000 a box. Good luck with that. Let me know how that turns out. So I'll be looking at singles. I'm not going to bother with boxes again. There is one thing, though, that's good. I heard about this. They've got a subset called Chair Shots. Apparently, the card is actually made out of metal.
Ooh.
So that could be pretty cool. I want to see what that looks like. I'm interested.
That has potential for sure.
I spoke to Billy Cilio, who's the designer of a lot of this stuff. I had him on the channel. I've chatted with him offline as well. He's very proud of those. Apparently, they had to come up with some stuff to make it work properly. I want to see what these look like. I'm intrigued.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like. So you got your autograph relics and stuff. So you got a Britt Baker here as well. Ring Generals. You got to have your Orange Cassidy Ring Generals. Turnbuckle Matt Ring Apron. Triple Relic.
That's cool.
How about Table for 2? Lance Archer and Sting with a piece of a table.
That's random combination, but still cool.
I think they had a feud at one point, like indirectly with Darby Allin and stuff. So I think remember, there's always a big time delay. So like there were feuds and stuff happening that won't make sense now, but would have made sense at the time they put together the checklist. So I think now it would be odd. This one's the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal, a subset for that, with a little piece of diamond. So that's pretty good. So on your average hot box, you're going to get 1 autograph, 1 relic, 1 additional memorabilia card, and 1 base parallel. So you can tell based on that, it's not a lot of cards, and it's going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you're going to keep an eye out, they're going to have the first real cards of Bryan Danielson. They're going to have the first real cards of CM Punk.
Nice.
You're going to get I'm just looking through the checklist here, the first real card of Jade Cargill. So this might be the Jade Cargill rookie card, so to speak.
Cool. So yeah, some good potential in there.
Yeah, I'm giving first Malachi Black card. I'm just reading off a couple of names here. They're going to come up. I'm just scanning real quick here. Red Velvet, I think, was in the other set, so I think you're good there. Young Bucks. Oh, and first Thunder Rosa. So
Nice.
I'm pointing out some names that in the base set, this is just a heads up. In the base set, this is going to be the first for a lot of those folks that I just named off. Just be aware of that. And the base cards are not, remember, my whole thing is, I'm looking for value. I know those memorabilia and relic cards are going to be expensive when they sell as singles. The base set, most people aren't looking at. The production on that base set is not going to be very high because there's not many cards per box, right?
Right.
So that means production is going to be relatively low. So the base cards are going to be the least desirable. They're going to be the ones that people are going to be getting rid of because they're like, oh, well, I want to sell the relics and that's where I'm going to make my money. Well, you can get your Thunder Rosa, you can get your other ones, your Jade Cargills and all that, probably cheaper than you normally would think. And then later on, I'll be like, wait, how many base sets did you guys actually print? Not a lot. This is a premium brand. Wait a minute.
When does it come out again?
It's going to be in the summer. We don't know the exact time period. When it gets closer to it, I'm going to have Billy back to chat about it some more. But the chair shot cards, that sounds really cool. There's going to be some first-time cards for some folks. This is not the complete checklist, so there may be some more folks. Like, we could get all that. We could get Pirate Julia Hart. I doubt it. I
I
doubt
will
it,
buy a
but if we
Pirate.
did,
I'm thinking I would look for Thunder Rosa, but I will also definitely buy a Pirate Julia Hart.
yeah, I think Thunder Rosa good. Malachi Black, that's a good one.
Mhm.
But like my point is,
Jade
I'm
would
giving some good
certainly
names.
be a good one as well.
Yeah, I'm giving some good. I'm giving some names here, just in the back of your mind. Bryan Danielson and CM Punk.
Yeah.
The base cards themselves may hold some value with the names that I just listed. Not advice. I'm just pointing this out. Just thought I would mention it.
Oh, for sure.
And now y'all know. All right. Cool. So then that's it. Episode 124. We'll be back with episode 125, where I will give more not advice.
I like it.
Not
That's
advice
key.
at all.
Not advice is key.
Bet on Harambe. For Shizzle. That will actually be the title. Bet on Harambe. For Shizzle.
All right. I can accept this.
Indeed. All right, that's it. Otherwise, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube is the best venue to check it out. Facebook is possible as well, if you happen to catch it live. Or if you want to see the unedited version where Dave does weird things. You could have been spinning around in your chair the whole time. No one will ever see it.
It's true.
There you go. So that'll be it for us this time around. We will catch you all in the next one.